Hello Internet, hello Final Fantasy fans, and hello Ever Crisis players. I'm Jackie Fox, and if you watched my episode of Applebot Economics 101, then you already know that I feel like the top end of the Sephiroth event is kind of whale bait. But if you are under the impression that all you need to do is spend money to be able to beat this fight, you are sorely mistaken. And also, if you think that it isn't possible to at least beat the 170 fight as a free-to-play, I don't think that that's true either, especially with level 55 out. That certainly makes it a bit easier, but it is still incredibly difficult, and it takes an intersection of things to actually beat it easily. I would say that spending money, increases your margin of error. It allows you to mess other things on this list up, but I think you gotta spend a lot of money to get a good margin of error on this fight. It really, because there's a lot of plates to spin and a lot of things that you really need. Let's talk about one of the first, and that's going to be the damage requirement. So the thing that you need to keep in mind about the damage in this fight is that I think this is probably the best character setup. I don't necessarily think that there's a character that probably does better here. These are your two best DPSs. You want a lot of damage. You definitely want Sephiroth. You almost certainly want Aerith. Maybe Tifa, maybe Barrett in some ways, but I really think that this particular team is the best. For your DPS, you don't want sigil breaks. This is something that was brought up both by Smelly Octopus, other content creators, including someone in my own comments. Sorry you're not making the War of the Visions comment response video. I don't have enough Ever Crisis comments to really give them their own video, but thank you for your comment. You're right. At least I think you're right. I mean, look, I've only had hours to test the one way that I'm pretty sure is going to work. I don't have time to test the strategy that might not work. But even though most things in this game encourage you to end a character stream phase early so that you can get increased ATB, you can stun them, get a chance to do just huge amounts of damage, Sephiroth is only going to be having elemental weaknesses during specific stream phases. So basically you want those to last for as long as possible, which means you do not want to break them. So as you'll see, I'm actually not running breaks anywhere on the party. There is a Ruinra on Aerith, but I'm never going to use it. If you'll notice, it's literally only there because it's a 5-star materia. Like, this is here for the 5.6% healing and the 8% HP. I mean, the defensive stats don't hurt either, but, you know, as you can see, she's more of magic defense here. But, so, one of the requirements, I would say, is to keep those phases as long as possible by not using breaks at all, or not using, breaking runes. Also, but that being said, you'll also notice that I usually favor more of a breaker Aerith. I'm not using the Sun Umbrella here. I really need to level 80 this piece of gear for sure. I'm not using the skill a lot, but this is just kind of useless. He can't be broken like that. So I'm getting a lot of benefits out of this. Even if I don't use the skill very often, and maybe leveling that up will help me through this fight, but I'm really seriously running out of time. You'll also notice that I have both an AoE and single target heal on her. After Heartless Angel and after Octaslash, and maybe in some other cases, you're really going to want a single target heal. After Heartless Angel, you're going to want 2 single target heals in a row, and let me show you why. So even with her healing power cranked up as much as I can, this is only a 63% potency. This, which you can't count on, is an 83% potency. Thankfully with regen, that is beneficial. But this is a 92% potency. I know it's only Cura, I know I only have a 3-star at this point, I wish it were better, but 92% is a hell of a lot better, and really, you've got to build that character's HP back up fast. But that doesn't mean that you don't need an AoE heal. You definitely also need that. You'll also notice that I'm using her healing and magic defense garb. And And, you know, like, if no one has ever shown you how to do this before, let me just point out, like, in some cases, if it wouldn't raise things, it would probably be better to use this. Like, this is going to give her more HP. This is going to give her more magic attack. But really, I think what she needs the most, the HP don't hurt. Like, she doesn't need the magic attack, but the HP don't hurt. The thing that really kills me here is that she is getting both bumped up in level in healing and magic defense by this. So those 8 points are really impactful for those two. They bring it from 3 to 4. And she needs those things for this fight. So really, you know, there are going to be, depending on what other R abilities you have running, 8 points may not be enough to push you up to the next level. You might get more benefit out of this just from the extra HP. It really depends on where your individual characters are. And for that reason, it's always worth looking at what these do and which these would level up. I think it's the last thing that you do with your build because you want to know where all of your other R abilities at. This is the last thing probably that you want to change, but that's how I'm going for this particular fight. So there are times when I need my single target heal. There are times also that I'm going to need an AoE heal, and there are times where maybe an AoE buff is going to be beneficial, but like 16 seconds isn't great. 8% healing, of course, isn't amazing either. If you have Espers built up, use them. I haven't built up my Shiva or my Rama, so having Ardent Flare is definitely, it does more damage for one, because it's at level 7. I've really invested in building this up, but also it increases his damage stats as well, so he's going to be doing more damage after the hit too, so just way better than Shiva here. Also, you know, since there aren't Earth or Wind Espers at the moment, you know, there's no way to execute one of his elemental weaknesses with an Esper either. Yeah, that's not really better either. Okay, so I think I'll stick with that. Since I'm not using him as my healer, he's not a Sigil Breaker either, so like neither of these swords, actually the third S ability doesn't really work for either of them, but that's fine. I'm kind of running into the same issue on Aerith, but also fine. So one of the difficulties here though is for your DPS elements. We haven't had as much time to build these elements as other things, so you might have just really bad materia. It would have been great to have like an extra week to think about this and to build this stuff up, but nope. Nope. So that's the second thing that you really need to build this to win this fight. The third thing, looking at sub-equipment, and my sub-equipment on Cloud is a little bit out there. But it gives him a lot of HP. It gets his physical attack over 2,000, but I wish it were higher, honestly, seeing what some other people are fighting this with. For Sephiroth, I'm going for as much physical defense as I can get. Again, I really do think it might actually be better to give him the additional physical defense here, even if he does lose a little bit of attacking power, because it's not a lot. And I think more of you are going to have this built out, but this brings to the third thing that you really need for this fight, and that is going to be the event weapons. The beach event weapons, because of HP, the magic defense doesn't hurt against Shadow Flare as well. That can be pretty helpful. But really the HP is a big deal because the HP requirement for this fight is pretty big. But also you probably want to have maxed or close to max the new event weapons. I have both of them on Sephiroth, and that is why his defense is that high. And actually this build, if I focused the third slot also on defense, I could get him to over 200 defense. The problem is that, you know, if he just doesn't really get attacked that often by Octaslash, that's a little bit wasted, so I didn't want to go that hard on it. Also, he would go down to like 4,000 HP, and I think I'm losing more at that point than I'm gaining. But a similar thing over here, still got an event weapon on my girl. You really want to have those maxed. You're going to need the extra bulk that they give you for this fight, because while you do need to be strong, and you do need a lot of offensive power to win this fight. You definitely need to have sturdy defenses to even be able to compete within this fight. So that's the third thing that you need that's pretty specific here. And all of those things I would say are a little bit negotiable. If your event weapons aren't quite maxed out, sure, you're going to have problems. Your margin of error is going to decrease. If you haven't spent any money on this game whatsoever, yeah, your margin of error is going to decrease. It's going to be small, but it's not an unwinnable fight with the right strategy. The thing that is really, I think, the biggest deal breaker, and you know what, let's just go into a mock run. I don't think I'm going to win this. It would be funny if I did, but also I just noticed that I kind of screwed something up. So you want Aerith in your third slot so that you start on her, but that's fine. I can switch to her real early on. I guess she should be... Oh, nope, there she was. Maybe I'm just tripping. So, you're playing in manual, low speed, just let Aerith accumulate ATB. I know all of your instincts are going to tell you to at least go into defense, but you're trying to build up that attack gauge right now. And like, defense isn't going to reduce the damage dealt here. So you want to go into defense mode and then heal her and then switch directly out of defense mode, allow that to build back up. And it's going to have plenty of time to build back up as her bar builds back up. Need a second Cura on her immediately, come out of defense. You don't want to stay in defense. However, look, Shadow Flare is charging right now, so we want to switch to defense at the last possible second before the Shadow Flare comes in. It will easily, for my party, do 4,000 plus damage to the entire party. If I'm not in defense, this brings it down to 2,000 or 3,000, which is manageable. After that, he's going to do a lot of weaker attacks that are going to eat away at your HP, but a little bit slower than Aerith can heal it with her AoE skills. So just kind of focus on keeping her in healing mode, and if you're good and topped off, you could even put in... Okay, so Sephiroth is being targeted by Octoslash, so one thing you want to do is get the barrier up on him. You also want to be keeping an eye on this. You don't want this to go... You don't want to go into this without defensive mode ready, but you also want his defensive barrier up on whoever it is. And as you can see with both of those things active, he survived. Really, again, only switch into this mode to heal. I've got my whole party up, so my next one can be a single target. Maybe I should have prioritized that, but I know this phase isn't super taxing. I'm going to be doing more damage to him than he's doing to me, but I do have to keep in mind that because I'm not stopping this phase, I'm not interrupting him, I am going to have to face a Shadow Flare at the end of it, so I will have to focus on tanking through that. In a pretty good place to cast Saving Grace, that will also help me tank through it. Make sure not to do these in defense. You don't want to waste your limit bursts. It happens to me a bunch when I get scared. It's like, oh, it's coming, I need to get the damage in and stay in defense. But don't. Make the switches. Even though getting one of these switches wrong will fuck your game up. And I have a little bit of a margin of error, so I can make some mistakes. But I do still have to be very careful. Honestly, this is going incredibly well. Somehow me talking about it and like narrating through it is keeping my brain on point here. And you'll see that even when it's a short period of time, if I can, I get out of defense mode because these guys have got to put the damage through this. The only way we're going to win this fight is by damage. I got to stay on that. But also, being in defense mode for extended periods of time is going to deplete this bar, and that's going to have to build up, and you're going to do less damage. So there's a lot of damage-related reasons that you want to be staying out of defense when at all possible. See, took it a little early, and I'm going to lose some seconds of damage uptime. A huge deal. And we're doing alright. A little early for Saving Grace, though, so let's just top off. I think I'll have time to get Saving Grace in here, but I think I might wait a little bit. And that was a little bit early. Did lose a little bit of my bar, but it's fine. I just wanted to try to layer those things. As you can see, that buff isn't helping a lot. It's kind of unfortunate, but it is thankfully higher in stats. Also, shouldn't be buffing in non-defense. You see how that didn't do a lot, but again, I have a little bit of margin of error, but you can see how this is already putting me behind in kind of a bad way. So, got an Octaslash coming, so I need to get Sephiroth to build up. I was focused too much on one thing, and now the Octaslash is coming. Okay. Yep. And Cloud's dead. See? That was a series of mistakes compounding. There was a lot of... And, like, because I had made those mistakes earlier, even though they didn't end my game right away, it still put me in a place where I had to do three things. I would have had to have healed, I would have had to have put that barrier up and gotten in defense, or if I didn't heal before, I would have to have the ATB to heal almost immediately after. It's all just bad news. So one mistake like that earlier on, one just tiny misclick, can put you in a situation where you're just setting yourself up to get bodied. And again, doing all of the things before that I've mentioned is going to help you have more margin of error, but I think the most important part is the physical gameplay here, because if you don't do that right, all the other advantages, all the pay to win in the world isn't going to be able to keep your team alive long enough to actually beat this guy, or even to get him down to like half health, as you can see here. And again, I didn't make that many mistakes. I had a really frustratingly good beginning to this fight. So next time you see me, I'm going to be winning this. See you then. Unfortunately, after over an hour of recording my screen, I kind of ran out of battery for the fight that actually cleared. I could have waited, I guess, and charged my phone up, but man, when you're that close, you just don't want to pause. And I got plenty of footage of me getting pretty close, and really the only difference is, and I'll point out the mistakes when they happen, just don't make mistakes and you'll be fine. It takes a lot of training and muscle memory to get this right, but you'll get there. And one of the first things you'll notice I'm doing is absolutely nothing with Aerith. And we'll get to see my team after some of this footage, and you'll get to see who I'm using and why, but I really want her to have max ATB so that we can get these two Curas off as fast as possible. Both of them targeting Sephiroth. Switching into defense position for each of those, but then coming back. You'll have opportunity to do two of those and then look up. You're going to be really close to switching to defense for Shadow Flare, but let that ride out, do the damage, then come back to defense mode. This will trip you up. This will be a reason that you will fail fights. However, just hang out with it. You'll be fine. Arguably, I could need a Cura here, but Curaga actually healed everybody pretty well. I might be able to follow that up with a Cura directed at Sephiroth, but Big Sephiroth is actually evening out the damage a bit, so leaning into Curagas is actually working here. And there's some dead zone as we're waiting for Octaslash. So switching to Octaslash, Aerith is going to build up ATB on her own, and you want to switch to little Sephiroth, young Sephiroth, get that barrier up at the very least, as well as putting yourself in defense, because as Aerith builds up to that last ATB bar in defense mode, she's going to cast Curaga herself. It came a little bit late in this one, unfortunately. Maybe should have been a Cura, actually. However, it's fine. We got the defense off, we got into defense mode. Those two things, in addition to the fact that my Sephiroth is built for close to 200 defense, as much physical defense as I could possibly get on him, he managed to survive. Other characters might need a little bit more help. We could get away with being just a little bit inefficient with that one. that was a place that we have just a little bit of wiggle room. But we're seeing a lot of damage here. You're also noticing that I'm not breaking him fast, but it is absolutely my intention to break him. I have Sephiroth on brakes. He's braking very fast. And then I have Aerith controlling the other side of the brakes. Since I'm running her, I'm choosing when he finally gets broken. I want us to have the most time we can to do damage, while also being able to deal with this, being able to have this interrupt state. This is a great place for healing, putting up a saving grace. So I can really do a lot of cool things with Aerith during this while they're doing damage. Don't want to miss that. I understand maybe having one more character up for a little bit longer during that other part might do a lot of damage as well, but I feel like this is a much safer way to go, and like, I don't have to deal with, or very rarely in this fight do I have to deal with the sedate status condition, and that's a big issue. Also, healing up from Shadow Flare is a big issue as well, so I don't have to deal with those problems and I get some advantages. I think this is kind of the best of both worlds, but you have to really be kind of waiting this out. See, I'm going to leave those 4 there for quite some time. I'm going to try to let that tick down naturally by itself. If Aerith doesn't have to get involved, Aerith doesn't get involved. That's fine. Hopefully the elemental attacks will be able to take this down instead. And you see, we've only got 1 glyph left, plenty of time. We actually finished that one a little bit too early, but that's fine. Waiting for Sephiroth to get his limit break active. There we go. And, you know, everybody does need a heal. It might not be the worst time to use Aerith's LB, Healing Wind. However, it really is a get out of hell free card in terms of, oh, so you've just made a critical error. Well, this is your one chance to solve that error, to make that work despite things. So running into defense and Kuriga, I was probably thinking that I'd be able to do that. That's why I'm keeping the Healing Wind in my back pocket instead of doing that. Not much else to do with my ATB. Heartless Angel's gonna fuck somebody up anyway, so I'm gonna, just like I did at the beginning of the fight, allow Aerith to build up as much ATB as possible, not switching over in defense mode, do as much damage as possible so that I can focus very intently on Curaing this guy repeatedly. Now, this, especially in this phase, that is a mistake. Using Curaga here, using an AoE heal instead of using a single target heal on him is bad, because that Octoslash is coming fast. It is because of that I had to use Healing Wind, unfortunately. I really wish I hadn't, but if I had used 2 Curas, I probably could have gotten away with not doing that and been able to use the Healing Wind later, which arguably that single mistake could have cost me the run. Because having that Healing Wind in my pocket later might have kept characters alive in a way that would have allowed me to finish this fight. And that's really what this fight is. There's a lot of places like this you have to just know what to do, because depending on how good your characters are, you may have almost no margin for error, if not no margin for error. You have to get into defense mode for this. Big problem if you don't. I think it does switch you to defense mode if you didn't, and you need to get out of that, because if you land any skills while you're in defense mode, they will not break this sigil, and you need 4 breaks on this sigil as fast as you can get them. I did luck out and get these even though I started in defense mode. I don't think I actually got any abilities hit it while I was in defense. I think we just kind of stored up our ATB and barely eked out of it. Also, while you probably don't have room for this in your build of Sephiroth, the Lyric Fury is good at getting through that state, and it's pretty scary. Like, it's the beginning of the end if he gets into the Octoslashes really fast off of that. But here again, we're going to use Sephiroth to throw a barrier onto the character that's about to get Octoslashed, but did I do that? I think I did that. Yes, I did. Went into defense mode as well, so Aerith is safe. I'm going to switch back to Aerith and start using Cura on her, because there's probably more coming. He's pretty heartless in this phase of the fight. Really likes to pick on one character with multiple big bomb skills. Did we dodge that? I don't think we... I don't think we defended that one either. So really getting caught by these Hell's Gates, because I think at this point in the game I was just getting to the Hell's Gate part of the fight. I wasn't used to it being there. I'd kind of developed muscle memory for a lot of the other things, and I really understood what I needed to do in those other phases. But it's hard to do it now. This is also the follow-up Octaslash. There's a lot in between that, but you can see how important it is to get her at full HP, all the way back up from the previous Octaslash, but also getting her, like, you know, fully defended, full defense position. You need all of those interlocking layers for her to be able to survive this, especially since she's not the one with the huge physical defense. It's actually even worse if Cloud gets targeted, because I got, like, no defenses on that boy. He's really got to be at full health to survive this. And a good health for surviving this is about 5,500 to 6,000 across the board, probably. But with your thickest of boys, probably having a little bit of extra HP, because they might get hit a little extra hard in some places. That'd be great. Just let them tank for you. It's fine. A little less healing that you'll have to do. Another thing that you'll notice is if you really stay on top of your button presses, on top of your defense, on top of everything else about this fight, you will you'll be getting a lot of chances to use other abilities on your support that could really help you and build you up. For me, it's Saving Grace. I know it doesn't last for very long, but it helps me against all of Sephiroth's fights. Just makes us take less damage, and while in build, it's also a pretty good piece of equipment for me, so it's easy to work it into a build because it's giving me good stats. But also when I'm just like topped up on healing and I'm in the ATB space where I need a Curaga and there's not something coming that I've got to save up for, which is occasionally the case, I can cast Saving Grace. Saving Grace is going to allow me to take less damage, which means I don't have to heal as much. And if I don't have to heal as much, I can use more Saving Grace. So if I'm really doing perfect in a fight like this, then I have the opportunity to start casting defensive buffs and being more proactive in this fight. And I think that that's a pretty cool advantage for you to have. As you can see, again, recovering and trying to get safe before the Shadow Flare. We've got our second Cura off as we're about halfway to Shadow Flare. That gives us enough time to throw in some attacks before switching to defense position to defend the Shadow Flare. Here it comes. Big damage, going to need an AoE heal or maybe even a single target heal on Sephiroth, but if I can hang in there, I can AoE heal through this. Sedate is a bit of an issue though. It's really going to cause, it's just, I'm not even sure what it does, honestly. But what I notice is that everything about my team tends to perform less good. I don't know if my ATB is slower. I don't know if I'm like doing less damage or something. I don't know if I'm just less effective, but Sedate really fucks with me. And this is a big part of the reason why I'm actually encouraging bringing breaks, maybe even a break on one of your deep offensive units, because I really want to reliably save myself from getting hit with Shadow Flare, because this is just not a good state for my party to be in. And I like to avoid it as much as possible in this fight. And I understand that that might make it a little bit longer in some ways, but it also makes it safer. And, you know, the longer it gets, the more opportunity there is for me to screw up, but that's just me being broke, I guess. Maybe if I weren't so broke, I'd have more margin of error in this fight, but I don't. I also don't have the DPS to fucking power chunk him down during this area, even when I have both DPSs on it. And as you can see from the beginning of this video, I tried that strategy for quite some time and it just did not work for me. And especially in this one, like, especially with the interrupt phases, I'm really consistently getting limit breaks up. Like, I wasn't doing that with the previous fight. I wasn't getting limit breaks off nearly as often. And as you can see with me leaning into limit break damage, you know, one of the other issues that I'm having versus a lot of people who have seen using this strategy is they've really built up. They've got like Hellfire. They've got like their Shiva at max damage and shit. And they're using summons in here and maybe doing close to 28,000. I can do a little over 20 with LBs at level 55, but I'm still not doing like that type of big damage either. And there's elements of my DPS that are probably weaker. Also, my materia just aren't where they should be for this fight, especially the earth ones, especially my earth below, just bad. So there's probably a lot of ways that I might be able to use the DPS strategy that I showed you at the beginning, but really this is way more reliable for me and it just works. I've also heard people say not to heal during this, that you're not taking enough damage to worry about it, but I got the fucking ATB and I would rather be healed up. Also, that can give me opportunities, like, that gives me an opportunity the first time my ATB hits really high, I can Saving Grace during this and get buffs up and active while we're in this mode, because I'm probably going to come out of the interrupt phase with enough to switch into defense and use Curaga. So, you know, I've got ATB to waste, and that is one of the things that puts me in a state where I can buff proactively and consistently, and I just find that helpful. I know, again, that Saving Grace isn't the longest or most impactful buff. Look, did it really even save us any damage? It barely lasted until he hit us. But it also put me in a state where I was healed up and able to do it again. And here we are with Heartless Angel. So maybe I should have saved up, but I think I'm going to hit max easily within the time of this bar. Yep, here we are pretty much at max ATB as he pulls it off, even though I just used a big skill before that. Also, the thing I like about Saving Grace is because the heal is absolutely dog shit. It's one of the times that I can really spam a powerful skill on Aerith without worrying about there being any advantage to switching to defense position to do it. So I can just go ahead and throw that in while other people are DPSing hard. There's nothing complicated about it. I can just send it. Just go ahead and send it. It's fine. So Sephiroth didn't take that incredibly well. Probably could have used a little bit more HP because it looks like I got the defenses up properly, and he's got a lot of defense himself, so he must have been suffering a little bit. But I think that was his second Octaslash in a row, and I'm pretty glad that it was him that was taking it, because it's a lot more tense when it's not Sephiroth getting that. And again, this is just because for my build, and also that was a really good defend. There you go. I actually got a defend on that. So now we're up. And look at that. We've got that quick, but can we get that last one? Come on, come on. One more skill activation. Anybody? There we go. Now we've got some LBs. I've been holding on to this healing wind for a while. Maybe I could use it to boost LB damage, but I really like having it in my back pocket. I can always heal later. It'll be fine. I'm not in emergency mode. I know, like, I've kind of trained myself to, like, want that extra damage to throw her LB in with everything else. And also, maybe kind of a weird choice doing Saving Grace there instead of a heal. Probably should have healed. But we're getting our barrier up. Go ahead and doing that. And Aerith, let's go into... Oh no. No, she missed it. And I probably could have saved myself from that miss with a healing wind. But here we are. We survived. So I can actually build back up with healing wind instead. But I'm still kind of in a bad spot in a lot of ways. That just helped me recover from it more quickly. So now I don't have a margin of error. One fuck up and I'm done at this point, pretty much. And here comes Hell's Gate. Didn't defend it. Defended way too late, unfortunately. Out of defense for the final part of that. We're building up Boundless Strength. That means Octaslash is coming. So I'm not sure exactly what happened there. I think we did enough DPS that it just broke that phase and threw him straight into this stuff. But here comes the Octaslash coming on Cloud. That is, as I've said before, just really bad news. He needs all of the stars to align for him to survive that. So just from the way I built it, I've been hoping that Cloud doesn't get hit with it. Also, just, I was so broken in the brain for that one that I just stayed in defense mode, like, oop, fuck. But, here's my team, here's what I've got. As you can see, I have my elements on this guy. I have Blizzara on him, but really, as you can see, it's for the defense and magic defense. It's got a lot of defenses on it, oddly enough. It's really the only defenses he has. Ruined X break with edged wings, so that's going to break 5 sigils at a time. He has a lower offensive stat than Cloud. Cloud's a little bit more beefy in his DPS, so I figured this guy would be the one breaking runes. Again, I want to do that pretty consistently. I've heard you don't have to, but whatever. Ruined Circle is on this girl just to be a stat stick. Ruined Triangle is the one I actually use. Cura is important, and as you saw me use my heals and supportive skills. This is about where you want the stats. Again, Sephiroth is my beefiest character, both in physical defense but also in HP. And I'm running their normal LBs. I really like that Sephiroth builds up his damage. He's also really effectively built as a very hybrid unit. So, all that being said, let's try Crash Sephiroth and see how much harder this might be. Like, I don't know, how much worse could it get right off the bat, for instance? I guess we're about to find out. Alright, so I'm imagining the fight. Oh shit, level 90. Oh, that's scary. Pulse of the Planet. Heartless Archangel. Okay, I wonder what that does. Does that just instantly kill somebody? Do I have to fight this with 2 people? Is that what's going on? Or maybe it's an AoE version of Heartless Angel and they're all going to be at... Oh no. Oh no. They're all at 1 HP. Okay, well, now I'm back to thinking that I need 2 AoE healers because holy shit, how do you recover from that? Especially given that he's about to go into Shadow Flare. Yep, he put his magic torrent up, now we're getting Shadow Flare, so I don't even know what I could possibly do to save myself from this. Let's see, I got the second heal in there. I did not get switched into defense position, so I'm probably gonna diggity die, but I maybe could have survived that with 2 AoE heals up front, maybe. Maybe. If I had gotten into defense position, maybe that could have worked. But I only get 10 shots at this, and there's only a few hours left to do it, and I've got other things to do today, so yeah, no thanks. Let's just try one more time, I guess. Let's see if I can get into defense position and if that will save my life after getting the 2 heals off, but spoiler, it won't. This one's just brutal. So thank you all for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. That is important to my channel, to my growth, to all of that. Leave some comments. I haven't had a lot of Ever Crisis videos get super popular. Don't have a ton of comments from these videos to talk about, but if y'all were to leave a bunch of comments on this video, for instance, for whatever reason, then I could do an Ever Crisis comment response video. I could answer some of your questions, just anything you're curious about. I would be happy to do that, and hey. Oh, no, here it comes. Okay, got the second. Was that the second heal? I think that was the second heal. So now I either need to try to hit a third. I tried to hit the third. I am in defense, so let's see how the Shadow Flare does. Bodied. Just absolutely AoE bodied, even with the best I could do. So I need more healing power, or just more healers, or a lot. But thank you for watching. After you like, subscribe, comment, also check out that link in the description. That'll show you all the other places in the Jackie Fox Media Empire that you can check out, including Fox Talks After Dark. We're going to be doing some spooky Halloween theater, talking about horror movies and horror movie history. but also other YouTube channels, podcasts, books. We got a Discord you can hang out on, all sorts of things, all sorts of ways for you to get to have the Jackie Fox experience just a little bit deeper. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.